All right, and welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Wednesday, September 14th, 2022. If not done so already, give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, here, so market's really kind of just in this range bound, stuck kind of bit of a pause day, I would call it. Although we are starting to dip here a little bit as we inch closer to the 330 time frame. This market is vulnerable to a fade here. The bears do have control. They can push this lower if they want to. I don't know if they will. It is Opex, so this type of range-bound chop is to be expected. They might just want to keep it in this range here for the remainder of the day, and maybe even the remainder of the week. I do think there's a possibility we kind of chop around. The one area I am watching though is this upsloping trend line here. So right now we are below that here. We're inching below that. No real chance to confirm it today. Yesterday we closed essentially right on it. So we do have a little bit of a pierce today happening. And we'll see if they push it down and push us lower here today. Overall, I still think there's a good amount of support at 390. I do think the market probably needs to bounce one more time before it can break through that. But we do have, there is possible catalysts coming up. We know that there's the everybody's talking about the trucking strike, or excuse me, the not trucking strike, the rail strike. So that could be something that shakes up the market. Does it really impact things? It could. I mean, I definitely can't rule it out. But right now, market's not behaving like it's panicking or anything just yet. And we are seeing, for the most part, a pause. Again, doesn't mean we can't fade a little bit here in the last half hour, but it's not like we're seeing a major move. And when you get big moves down here, I mean, this is the worst day since June 2020, down 4.5% basically on the spiders, 5.5% on the NASDAQ. It's very typical to see a pause. So for the most part, that's really what we're seeing, just down 32 basis points right now. And again, it doesn't look like, even if we do get a fade, I don't expect it to be too much. But it looks to me like they want to kind of keep it range bound here today and just kind of keep the market chopping. Strangely enough, the Qs are actually outperforming just a little bit. So they are basically down just 5 basis points, basically flat, whereas the spiders are down a little bit more here on the day. Fins are notably a little bit on the weaker side, so that may be dragging down the S&P versus the NASDAQ. Tesla just continues to be strong here. What can you say? Up 2.5% on the day. And this weekly pattern is still pretty good. That's a really nice bullish inside bar there. And you can see the same thing on all the ESG names. So TAN, nice little bullish inside bar there. Looks just like Tesla. Someone in the live stream last night brought up NEO. And, it's a little bit, softer than Tesla. But, up move and, kind of inside bar. It does look like it's outperforming or has outperformed really since May a little bit. At least the pattern is a little bit better. If you look at Rivian, another EV company, this is actually, it's actually about to make higher highs here. So you are seeing a little bit of money flow kind of come to these ESG names. So something to pay attention to, and that could be partially explaining Tesla's strength. Another obvious answer for Tesla's strength is that they're using Tesla to prop up the market while they sell everything else. That could be a possibility as well. Using it with, basically just gamma squeezing it essentially. So just a couple of things to think about overall. Again, analysis has not changed much from yesterday. Again, support is still 390 here on the spiders. We're watching for that, this upsloping trend line as well. If we get a close below that, then we'll look for confirmation tomorrow. If we get confirmation, we could really start to break down and get down to that 378 area that I talked about last night. So there's your gap fill there. It's also a 7.5 fib retrace. But again, it is Opex week, so we could see some whipsaw tomorrow. It wouldn't surprise me if they pump us up Thursday, Friday and get us some relief here. That's always a possibility. Whenever you have Opex, you got to take everything with a grain of salt to a degree. Overall here, looks like we're starting to drip lower here in the final hour. But again, I don't really see a major break. If we get one, we get one, and obviously I'll kind of cover that as we get closer to the close here. But anyways, triple Qs here on the day. Again, down 15 basis points, so they're still outperforming, the rest of the market here. Again, on the softer sides, very close to that pivot there, 296.60. You can see it has been weaker than the spiders for, pretty much all year long. But again, if you take that same trend line and draw it up, you can see we violated that, and it's really just a mess up, as far as really the Qs versus the spiders here lately. And, interest rates have to do with that, and risk off has to do with that. But Qs on the softer side, although today showing a little bit of relative strength, as is the Russell. So the IWM there in the corner of my screen, you can see hasn't taken out that low yet today. So Russell's still hanging on okay. And, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt for now. It's still much farther off of that September 6th low than, say, the spiders or the triple Qs. So Russell's showing a little bit more of relative strength as well, so something to make note of. Semiconductors here continue to be weak. I mean, this is all just kind of bearish chop right here, and this is starting to build a bear base. Not a good picture here for the semis, and never a good sign when you see them lagging the market. Cloud software here also lower today, down 70 basis points. This is actually one of the weaker areas today. Lately it has outperformed a little bit, but slipping a little more today. And if it takes out this low, then it's really back down to the lows here. So there's not really much past this pivot on IGV between that and the lows. So IGV in a critical spot here. So we'll keep an eye on that. Biotech really just flattish to positive here. Nothing really to talk about. Transports continue to be weak. Again, rails, that kind of thing's coming up here. You see CSX down, gapping down today. Norfolk Southern also taking a nice hit, 2.5% down. UNP, down over 4%. Canadian Pacific down 1%. So good hit there on the rails. Let's take a look at the truckers. JB Hunt's hanging in there okay. XPO taking a hit there. So DJT, and again, we noted this last week, on Monday, or it was actually Tuesday, I think it was, when crude dumped out. And I said, why are the transports dumping? That doesn't make any sense. So, maybe some smart money was, knew this was going to happen and, started to get ahead of it. But transports have been notably weaker. That has already taken out that pivot low from last week. So transports now making daily chart lower lows and daily chart lower highs here. So something we have to keep an eye on. Not a good sign when you see the transports lead to the downside. When I see the transports and the semis leading to the downside, it's never a good sign. But overall, that is the one thing that could kind of come into play later this week. The deadline is Friday, so that is the 16th, which is also quad witch Opex, coincidentally enough. So we'll see about that. Then obviously next week we have the FOMC decision. And personally, I think they should just hike by 125 basis points. Speaking of that, let's get over to the 10-year right now. If you really, if you look at the 2-year yield, that's at 3.75, and Fed funds rates at like 2.3, 2.35. It just hiked by 1.25, and then you're caught up to the 2-year, and then your hiking cycle is over with. But they probably won't do that. So, when has the Fed ever done anything the right way? But in any case, yields backing off just a little bit today. The long end of the curve backing off more via the TNX, and we'll take a look at the yield curves here. So 2s and 10s taking a big hit today, back down to almost 40 bips inverted. 10-month and 3-year actually kind of getting a little bit of relief, but still building a big bear base here on that daily time frame and weekly. 5s and 30s further inverting, so now back close to that double bottom there from June. And then 10s and 30s also taking a really big hit here. Those are very close to negative as well, so only about 5.5 basis points away from an inversion there. So again, these inverted yield curves, the longer they act like this, the more damage it's going to do. Every single day that they're inverted or close to inverted, it's doing damage to the economy. So we have to keep note of that. HYG here, again, flattish to positive. Again, nothing really doing here. And there we go, starting to bid up a little bit here. This to me is just basically a pause day after a really big move down. I didn't think that they would flush it. The bears have control, so they could have, but I think just because it's Opex, they're probably going to trap bears here and sell some puts there at the lows. It would not surprise me at all. But anyways, HYG, so we covered that. Let's go down to home builders. Home builders took a pretty big hit today, so down 2% here on the XHB, confirmed daily chart lower low. Really got to hold this level here. Otherwise, you're probably headed back down to that 55 handle there on the XHB. So home builders in a little bit of trouble here. ITB as well, confirmed daily lower low. This one is underperforming. You do have a bit of a pivot down here at 50, we'll call it 51. And then you got that green bar there at 52. So it's basically into that level now, but home builders showing a little bit of weakness. They're starting to lead to the downside, and VNQ close to that double bottom. This was outperforming so well last week, and then right back down in 2 days, right back down to that pivot low there. So some weakness in the real estate sector. Again, the yield market, the credit market's all messed up right now, and obviously that plays a big role in the home builder sector and real estate. XLF down 1% today. So this one's actually leading to the downside. And it's been a strong sector lately, but back below those moving averages. So now below all 4 moving averages here on the daily. And again, the levels are the same though. You got these pivots here. It's still above that for now, but a nice little pullback there for XLF and XBD here. Broker dealers also pulling back about 0.5%. Nothing too major though. It's just kind of a run-of-the-mill pullback there for the XBD. All right, crude. So energy, again, not much to talk about. 1.25 up today. Wouldn't surprise me if we just go sideways the next 2 days into quad witch. It looks like it's just kind of riding that 20 moving average, and I think it looks to me like market makers are selling it right at that 20 MA or right above, $89, $50, $90, right in that area. So it tells me they probably want to keep it below that for Opex. So that kind of looks like your max pain for now. And then I think the big move either up or down will come the week after. But right now it does look like they're pinning it to that $90 handle currently. XLE here having a nice day at one of the stronger sectors in the market, up 2%. So nice move there. XOP up 2 3/4 and OIH up 3%. So pairing most of yesterday's losses as well. Energy continues to be a strong sector. And of course, natural gas. So I keep saying this. I was like, this is not the type of reaction, the last couple of days you want to see off this trend line. But I also preface that with nat gas has been resilient all year long. And there you go. Up 10% today, just an easy 10%, nothing major, right? That's run of the mill for nat gas, 10% in one day. But back above the 20 now. Let's see here. So we got this red bar high. That's going to get closed above. If not today, then tomorrow. So that's 912.6. Let's put that in there. So you get a close above that breakdown bar, and that guarantees you going back to $10 pretty much, but maybe even higher. So nat gas continues to be strong here. What can you say? It's a powerhouse right now. We'll be watching that weekly close. You get a weekly close above that bar, and this thing can really take off here. It's overbought still on the bigger time frames, but you got to respect the uptrend right now. It has been a powerhouse all year long. Speaking of powerhouse, dollar index here. So again, just kind of consolidating yesterday's move. Nice big up move. Little inside hammer day. I don't see any problems with the dollar right now. Nothing to say that it can't go higher. Gold here, having a little bit of a weaker day, so down 80 basis points. Again, I think this is Opex related too, just like crude. It looks like to me they want to keep it right around that 17 handle. So whole round number. Oftentimes market makers like those numbers. That's where all the option buyers, place their bets usually. And right now, this is kind of what it looks like to me, is Opex stuff. So we'll see if that ends up holding up into the end of the week. The one thing I will also kind of asterisk that with is continuing to outperform is GDX. So GDX green with gold down. It's not green by much, but it's green. And GDXJ up even more. Let's take a look at the royalty streamers. So this is down just 4 pennies here on the GOA. So again, the miners are continuing to lead while gold kind of fades here. So again, that's showing institutions are ready to step up here. You want to see the miners bottom first, and I believe we're starting to see that right now. But anyways, silver here. Love this candle on the daily. So yesterday we had that little pullback and a nice little green candle here. I want to see an inside bar above the moving averages. If we do that, it has legs up to that, up to this area here around 20, we'll call it 2075. And then 21, you'll have some major resistance. But for right now, it's doing everything you want it to on that daily time frame. And then my favorite here, the Rockstar Platinum, just won't go down. So look at that, right up into these moving averages. This should have given you a pullback, and we just blasted through it. Went up to the 100 MA, and I showed you guys yesterday we had a 618 there as well. And I said, okay, this is going to pull back now. You had a good sell-off there with good volume. You should get a retrace. Nope, not happening. So today just erased those gains. This is really strong. Would like to see some backing and filling, some flagging and inside bar. You get that, this will have major legs. But platinum with a nice impressive move here today. Rockstar stuff for that. Palladium up 2.5, so pairing some of yesterday's losses as well. And then copper here continues to be on the weaker side a little bit. You see the market is starting to price in kind of recession risk here. So that kind of changes the dynamic for copper a little bit, but it is down 1.25 today. Again, nothing major here. We'll see if it can eventually put in a higher low. But for right now, I'm kind of neutral on that chart at the moment. All right, lastly, Bitcoin. The only crypto that's really red on my screen, other than, yeah, just a couple others. So again, let's not make too much out of it. You had a nice sell-off yesterday. Really just kind of a pause day again here. Ether up 1%, but again, just a little inside candle. Doge, same kind of thing here. Big picture, these still have bearish patterns here, but we had a nice little squeeze off the lows, little retrace yesterday. Door kind of got slammed shut yesterday. You know, I don't really see anything great here for crypto at the moment. It just had a tough year altogether. Anyways, let's flip back over the spiders. So let's take a look. So yeah, we're continuing to bounce a little bit off the lows. Again, it looks like, you know, they want to keep it range bound. They probably sold some puts down here. Let's take a look at the VIX. I haven't looked at that much today. Yeah, VIX still hanging in this upper level here. But again, every time it gets above 27, the call sellers show up. And I think that may happen until next week. We do have VIX expiration next week, so we'll see what we get there. And then I believe the same day as the FOMC, if I'm not mistaken. I have to double check that. But that would be very interesting if it was on the same day as we get that FOMC policy statement. But anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here. Market's kind of going to sleep all day long. Nothing really to do here. I didn't really take any trades myself. Just a quiet day. You don't want to force anything in this type of market. But there will be plenty of volatility moving forward, and we'll be ready to play that when it comes. Anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.